Today on Cookie's Tech and Talk Table, we address the release of Dogfish's 2TB M.2 2242 for the GPD Win 2, more efficient ways on how to transfer your media and video game files using a USB hub connected to a laptop hard drive, and a converter of an SSD to a SATA cartridge. And welcome back to another edition of Cookie's Tech and Talk Table. It's been over a year since I've done any media videos at all, or any handheld gaming videos. I want to thank you all out there for your support who have watched my previous videos from the distant past. I'm still here, I'm still functioning, and with the release of the GPD Win Max, I wanted to address some more things with the GPD Win 2 before closing out finally and moving on to the GPD Win Max. And these are some things that I wanted to drop onto you guys, some techniques that I also will be using when I get my GPD Win Max in the mail as well. I did pre-order mine through Indiegogo, and I just can't wait to receive it in July. But in the meantime, I've used a lot of time before the coronavirus pandemic and during now to go and do what I'm doing, so that maybe I can pass on some good ideas, a new way of transferring information. But first things first, let's address the 2TB micro SD, 2TB SSD. So right now it's in my GPD Win 2. It is in here, and I did get the 2TB. And just like most handheld devices that GPD Win makes, it does suffer from overheating. I didn't do the mod yet, the cooling mod yet, which I will do at some point. But just to show you guys what it looks like, it looks like just the rest. On that note, I do highly suggest that people do invest in a good screwdriver set. This is particularly called a precision set. It has all these different settings right here with magnetic ends. It allows me to go and change the ends, of course, and unscrew small devices and from smaller video gaming devices like this. So I'm just going to put this to this, wrong one. I'm going to put this to this end right here. And just to show that I did buy the 2TB SSD, I'm going to be real quick about it because there's a lot of information that I want to touch on today. And here it is. So it looks like just the regular M.2 2242. I've been using it so far. I wanted to really max out my GPD Win 2 with the max amount of space that it can have. I reckon now that since this is the later model, this is not the Indiegogo model that I used to have. This is the later model with the 81Y100 or the Y8100 processor that allows for large-scale micro SD cards. So this can run the 1TB micro SD card, and now I have the 2TB M.2 22 SSD. Still does get hot when running games depending on what the games are, but so far I have not experienced any burnout. Which is leading me into the next part of this video, which is I found a more efficient way to transfer information to the M.2 2242 SSD and the new SSD of the GPD Win Max. So I'm just going to screw this, and I'll go into that explanation in just a second. Because I found out not only is this transfer method a bit faster, but it's also a bit more efficient, and it also saves the life of your SSD. And if you're worried about overheating, this also saves the device from overheating as well, or should I say the SSD from overheating. So what I have right here is a USB hub by Insignia. This allows me to put in full-size SSDs with a SATA end. So I'm going to show it right here. it allows me to put in the full SSD hard drive, a full-size hard drive with a SATA end, or a laptop hard drive. So I'm going to give you an example right here. Let me turn this around this way. There we go. And I would pop it in here as if it's a cartridge. And this part is USB 3.0, hooks to my laptop right here, and allows me to transfer data more efficiently. Now, what I also have here is a Microchip Cartridge, which I got from China, which you could get offline. And by the way, let me say that everything that I'm showing here, I'm going to put links to it in my video. So if anyone's interested in doing what I'm doing here, they can follow my method. There's a method to the madness here, so it's all going to make sense in a second. Now, this cartridge that I got off of eBay, which is excellent, allows me to put many different types of SSD hard drives onto the microchip by clicking it into this as a converter and converts it into a SATA end. So like the SSD that's in the GPD Win 2 and the SSD that's going to be in the GPD Win Max. Because of the overheating issues, after the installation of Windows, I would take out the SSD, say the Max, or in this case the GPD Win 2, and then plug it into the converter cartridge right here, which is this microchip, which you can see it right here actually. This is the 1 terabyte that I had for my previous GPD Win 2 that I'm looking forward to sell in the very immediate future. I put the 1 terabyte onto the cartridge microchip. And then what I'll do is I'll put it in, right, like so. Make sure it plugs in. And now I can transfer my data directly as it shows up on my laptop from one SSD to another, or from the hard drive of my laptop onto the SSD that's on the converter chip. Now, why am I doing it this way? It sounds like a long process, but the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I spent a lot of time perfecting my emulators, my Steam games, and I've made them portable. I've made them portable onto my removable laptop hard drive right here. This hop swappable bay goes into my desktop, and this is 4 terabytes right here. This is a 4 terabyte hard drive. And so I have my Steam games, my music library, all of my video games and emulators, all of my documents, everything. My entire life is in this hot swappable right here. In addition, of course, I have backups on another SSD and also another external hard drive. But for the sake of saving time and for the sake of saving the overheating issues that you get from trying to do a direct transfer to the GPD Win 2 device or the Win Max device, I've decided to do a different route by getting this Insignia Hub. This hub, which allows me to put in 2 hard drives, whether it be a regular hard disk drive HDD, it could be a big one because it can take it, as you can see, or a laptop hard drive or a hot swappable bay like this one. I can then go and put the SSD of the Win 2 or the Win Max onto the cartridge here and put my hot swappable bay, the one that has all of my video gaming data, and just copy and paste while watching it on my computer and do it that way, which saves so much time. Because of the amount of data that I have about a good 1 terabyte worth of video gaming. And that's because I put a lot of time into the creation of Launchbox. Launchbox has videos, music. It's a front end for all my emulators. And because I plan on doing something real big with the GPD Win Max, I want to make sure that I save a little bit of time. And that means taking out that hard disk drive, or in this case, the SSD of the Win Max, and putting it onto this cartridge right here. So right where I have it right now, I'm using the M.2 2242 1 terabyte for the Win 2. But when I get my Max and I get the SSD for that particular system, I will swap this one out and put the Max's SSD onto this cartridge chip. And then put the cartridge chip right back into my little bay right here. Clicks nice in. Turn this bad boy on and then start the transfer process of my video gaming life onto this chip, which in turn will save me so much time. With that being the case, I'm hoping that this video that I'm saying and all the information that I'm sharing was very useful. The transfer speeds, I believe it's about a good 300 megabytes a second using the Insignia. Don't quote me, but I do know that from the last transfer that I did, it took about 3.5 hours to transfer everything from my laptop hot swappable drive onto the microchip. And that's only because of the large amounts of data that I have. And I'm talking about full ROM sets for NES, PC Engine, Sega CD, Sega Genesis, Dreamcast, 3DO, PC Engine, PS1. I had a lot of PS2 games. We're also talking about Wii games, Wii U ISOs, and so on and so forth. So 3 to 3.5 hours is not a bad transfer time, especially when you're saving on overheating issues. So that concludes this edition of Cookie's Tech and Talk Table. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I really will be doing more videos on the GPD, especially that the GPD Win Max is coming out. And then I will show some more things in actual progress. This video was just to showcase the concept and the transferring of information from one HDD to another SSD using the cartridge chip and using the Insignia transfer bay. I found this device to be extremely helpful in the process of the transferring of my information and efficient. When I go to other people's homes and I give them emulators for free, I use this same process. Instead of using the chip, everything I have is on here, and if they want a direct transfer to their HDD, I do exactly that. I just put in my hot swappable, plug my Insignia drive bay into their computer or desktop, laptop, whatever it is, and transfer that way, cut and paste. And because I set up the folders on the hot swappable bay in a particular manner, it's literally a copy paste and very minimal tweaking of reassignment of folders. It's an awesome process. I highly recommend this. Invest in it if you're interested, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment on this video. I'm willing to do more. I'm willing to answer any and all questions. I'm just looking to offer new ways to be efficient in the transferring of your video games, media files, documents, while also saving you a lot of time. Until then, Cookie out. This is another edition of Cookie's Tech and Talk Table.